Hi, this is Joe from Denise Audio again, and this time I would like to present to you something special. The Denise team challenged themselves to invent a new reverb algorithm, and we think it's turned out supernaturally good. Of course, you should always judge for yourself, so please find stems for a track and a free trial of the perfect room on our website. For now, let me tell you something about reverbs. Classic algorithmic reverb plugins use a combination of short feedbacking delays to create an illusion of reverberation. These delays cause unwanted metallic resonances and sharp spikes in the reverb's frequency response. Let me show you how that sounds by using a commonly used algorithmic reverb on 100% mix on the send channel. Notice the unnatural metallic character. The Denise team wanted to create something better, our Reverb technology. Using this technology, the Denise Perfect Room doesn't use delays for the tail and will sound natural and defined from the lowest kick all the way up to the highest vocal. Now let me show you how the Perfect Room compares to the previous example. Now let me walk you through the Perfect Room. The Perfect Room enhances the character and coloration of any audio you run through it in an extremely natural way.
I'm seeking solace from despair. My mind has started to speak out.
Now listen to the vocals in the full track, where we also applied the Perfect Room to the master channel.
A livid shadow in Orlando. I'm seeking solace from despair.
At the top of the plugin, you can choose your room type. This is not your typical room selection type, but instead lets you choose the style of the room response. It has a selection of natural, which decays logarithmically over time, performing a perfect room response. Triangle, which decays linearly over time and can be used for longer but tight reverb tails and creative effects. And square, which doesn't decay at all and stops abruptly. This can be used for a tight gated reverb or different unusual effects.
I'm seeking solace from despair. My mind has started to speak out.
The second drop-down list allows you to choose the tone response, with Bright XL being the highest and Dark XL being the deepest. The flat option has a perfectly flat frequency response and forms our main perfect room sound. It sounds full of life and doesn't have any metallic resonances. Which room type to choose depends on the creative effect or flavour you are after. However, we recommend starting with the flat option. One thing that's unique about the Perfect Room is that it stays defined and clear in the low end, which makes it also very useful on low end sources, buses and for mastering. For emphasizing the low end specifically, you can use the Dark XL mode. We also have two controls here, Flip, which reverses the wet effect.
I'm seeking solace.
And Split, which turns the signal from mono to stereo without phasing issues. The width of the split is controlled on the bottom panel with the width dial.
I'm seeking solace from despair. My mind has started to speak out.
On the lower half of the plugin, you also have familiar reverb dials. Input and output control the pre-effect and post-effect volume. Mix is a dry/wet control, and the high pass and low pass filters let you shape the color of the wet reverb signal. To control the tail of the reverb, we have the tail control that sets the length of the tail, and the delay controls that delays the wet reverb signal to preserve transients and overall clarity. Once you've added and shaped the room, we've added a few effects to really help the reverb stand out, with Shimmer, Detune, and Ducker controls. Click on the right hand side of the control to turn the effect on. Shimmer is a pitch shifter, so it splits the signal across two controls, one signal which is pitched up 1 octave, and one signal which is pitched down 1 octave. The source dial controls the input of the wet signal into the effect. Turn up the effect blend by clicking on the effect name and dragging up or down. Click on the X to close this window. Detune is a pitch detuner, so it adds pseudo-random pitch fluctuations into the reverb, controlled by the wow and shake. You can control the speed of the effect with the speed control. A detune effect can be used for a more lo-fi and vintage reverb sound.
It's all over me. Shut down and see how far.
Ducker is a sidechain compression type control that compresses the wet signal based on the dry source signal. This allows you to create long reverb tails without the source signal losing definition, like on vocals or drums. A trick used by many experienced producers. The great thing about the Perfect Room sounding so natural is that you can use it to create all kinds of custom reverbs by putting it on a bus and adding additional effects either before or after the Perfect Room. For example, for a vintage sound, you can put a saturator before the Perfect Room and an analog style EQ after. Or for a really custom sound, you can add the sweeper after the Perfect Room to shape the resonance of the reverb tail. Now go to our website for more examples and get a room.